Previously on the Fan of History, Menua, the king of Urartu, what is today Armenia, expanded his power, and the kingdom of Judah lost a war against Israel, and King Amaziah actually became a prisoner of Israel. So, what happened in the 780s before the Common Era? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I know, but I'm just a fan of history and not a historian, so I might be wrong. So please correct me and give me a source so I can learn more if you find something. Please watch The Great Civilizations of the World in 800 BC to set the stage for this. Adad-Nirari III is the king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, and it's the strongest state, but Urartu is getting really close now. You can see Urartu on the map. Adad-Nirari won't get a tribute video, but he's still a strong king. He's good at fighting, but he's bad at maintaining and administrating the empire, and it's slowly slipping into decline because nobles are getting too powerful. The control over the vassal states have been re-established, but it's not a very tight control and it can easily be lost again. Adad-Nirari III appears in the Bible, or at least it's likely that he is the king of Nineveh, who upon receiving Jonah's prophecy dresses himself in sackcloth and orders a fast throughout the city, and thus prevents this doom. The one thing that talks against Adad-Nirari III as the king of Nineveh in the book of Jonah is that the capital is not in Nineveh. Nineveh is an ancient city. It's been around longer than Assyria, but it's not the capital yet. The capital is still in Kala, where Ashurnasirpal put it, and it's still a while before Nineveh becomes the capital. So this is an overview of the empire. The pink land is the heartland, which is under control of the Assyrians pretty tightly. This is not exact, but this gives you a picture of what the empire looks like. And the rest is vassal states. But the empire is crumbling under its own weight. We don't know a lot about Babylon at this time, and Assyrian control is not well established there. But we'll talk more about Babylon in the 780s BC in the next episode, because then we get to the interval. In Greece, everything is happening, and the Greeks are about to take over the Mediterranean. There are colonies in Almina in Syria, and on the Ionian coast of Turkey, and in the Bay of Naples. Euboea, marked in red on this map, is the most powerful place in Greece. There are two important city-states, Chalcis and Old Eritrea or Lefkandi, on the island, and they are ahead of Athens, they're ahead of Sparta and of Corinth and of Miletus at this time. Also, the Greek world is undergoing a transfusion. The identity of the Dorians, the Achaeans, the remnants of the Dark Age is slowly disappearing, and they are all becoming Hellenes. This is partly because of legends such as the Odyssey and the Iliad, which we'll talk about in this century. It's also because of religious movements, a common religion all over the islands. It is because of temples and religious places such as the Oracle of Delphi, which we'll talk about as well in this century. And it's also because of something that will happen in the next decade, the Olympic Games. Notice that the word Greek is an abnormality. It's something that the Romans invented, because the first Hellene tribe they encountered, the first Hellenes, were the Graecii. So they just assumed that everybody was a Greek. So the Greeks never called themselves Greeks during ancient times. The Greeks are also about to rediscover writing. If they are writing right now, they're writing in Phoenician. But and remember, their old style of writing, Linear B, was lost in the Dark Age. In 789 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacks the Medes. He likes attacking the Medes. The Medes are to the east of Assyria. There were a total of 8 wars against the Medes, All the details are lost, and it doesn't seem like anything was gained. Maybe something was lost. Some horses were surely lost and gained, and we don't know a lot about how the Medes are doing at this time, but the Medes will become super powerful later. In 788 BC, Adad-Nirari builds a temple to Nabu, and this is Nabu, the scribe of the gods. And the influence of Nabu is growing ever stronger in the Mesopotamian world. You have noticed maybe that there is a lot of kings in Babylon called Nabu something. And this influence is spreading to Assyria, but it has been going on since the day of Ashurnasirpal II. So some scholars have said that this is proof of Babylonian influence, that Semiramis, the mother of Adad-Nirari III, was a Babylonian princess, etc. But it's very unclear. The only thing that's clear is that Nabu, the scribe of the gods, is really important. But remember the Assyrian religion, Ashur, the god of war, is all gods. So Adad-Nirari III doesn't neglect Ashur. He makes repair at the Ashur temple, and Ashur is still important. It has been a sign of the strong kings of the empire that they build things. They build palaces, fortresses, etc. And Adad-Nirari III does this. He constructs palaces at Kala, at Nineveh, and probably Shamshi-Ilu, the Turtana, the field marshal of the empire, not the king, carried out extensive repairs to Kar Shalmaneser. Remember, Kar Shalmaneser is the old Bit Adini capital, the Aramean tribe of Bit Adini, to which Shamshi-Ilu belongs. And this is the fortress from which Assyria projects power to the north and to the west. So it's a very important place in the empire. In 788 BC, it's time to beat up the Medes again. And yeah, we don't know anything about it. There is a Mede to the lower right. Egypt is out of order. We are leaving Egypt. We're not talking about Egypt. A number of ethnic Libyans are controlling Egypt. Some of them are pharaohs, some of them are great chiefs. We're waiting for Pi. Pi will get Egypt on track again. If you look at the video Great Civilizations of the World in 800 BC, that's about, gives a very good impression of what's happening in Egypt. If somebody knows exactly what happened in this decade in Egypt, please tell me in the comments, because I'm giving up. I will return to Egypt in 750 BC. When the Nubians comes a calling. 787 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacked the Medes! Oh, poor Medes! The Olmecs in Mexico are building pyramids. They're having a great time. We are entering the greatest time of the Olmec civilization. But I have nothing new to say about that. So check out the 790s BC part 2 to see the greatest Olmec pyramid, which is of this time. In 786 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacks Kisku. I am not sure what Kisku is, so and we have the entry only from the eponym Chronicle. The eponym Chronicle is a great source for Assyrian knowledge, but it's not extensive knowledge. The only thing it says, every year it names an important official who is normally not the king. This is the year of Nabu Sara Usu, the governor of Talmusu, one of the provinces of the empire. And then it says where the year's war went. So this year they fought against Kisku. This might have been a rebellion of some sort in the country. Meanwhile in India, we don't know anything. They don't have writing. Okay, we know that Panchala is the greatest kingdom. These are the Vedic times. The Upanishads are being constructed, but it is very unclear what is going on in India, and it won't be any clearer before the age of Buddha in the 6th century BC. Next time, we are going to talk about the interval. These are the darkest days of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, and the rise of Urartu will be completed. We will also meet the not so mysterious Etruscans for the first time. It's time to stop talking about the Villanovans and start talking about the Etruscans. Here is some contact information, but what I really want to talk about this time is the Patreon. Patreon.com is a site where people can sponsor, become patrons of shows that they like. And this show will remain free. So you can sponsor the show, be a patron at patreon.com if you want to. It's a much easier way to donate than PayPal. So this is only for you extra generous souls that feel that you want to give something to Fan of History. You set a sum per episode. That sum is probably $1. You can put a max on that sum per month. There are some milestone goals and future projects. If this turns out well, I will do the following things. There are more details on patreon.com. I will continue the narrative to 500 BC. As you see, I am continuing the narrative, but I don't know where I will stop. It depends on the success of this Patreon campaign. If you really like the Fan of History, I will do the history of Greece between 500 and 400 BC. Beyond 500 BC, I cannot continue during this. There will be like 8 episodes for each decade. But I will do the show for Greece per decade. And I will make a battle report of the Battle of Thermopylae. That's 300. I will do a battle report for Marathon. There will be the Peloponnese War. That will be interesting. If you'd super truly really love me, then I will do the full history of Rome. Rome will enter our narrative, but I will do 1,000 years of Roman history. And to this amount of detail that I'm giving you now. I'm thinking about rewards in Patreon, but I have only come up with personalized videos and shoutouts. More information about that on patreon.com. So please check it out. I'm still setting it up, but I already have a Patreon. Thanks for that. And if you don't want to support me financially for this, you can also subscribe to the channel. You can like the videos, you can share the videos with people you think are interested, and that will help me a lot. From now on, I will end the videos talking about Patreon, talking about patrons, and stuff like that. So when you see this slide, you can stop watching if you want to. Well, thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for watching the Fan of History.